Hey, everybody, welcome back to I Know a Guy. I'm Anthony, and this is the podcast where connections thrive. Each episode, we spotlight inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals doing amazing things. Together, we'll grow your circle, spark collaborations, and discover new opportunities. Today, we're meeting Andrew Fox. He is a seasoned digital strategist with over 23 years of experience leading a high impact marketing and advertising initiatives. A trusted advisor and LinkedIn thought leader, he helps brands and agencies craft results driven strategies that fuel growth and long term success. How are you doing today, Andrew?
I am great, Anthony. How are you doing?
Fantastic. We're both busy. We bonded over that. You're
Yeah.
on 8 cups of coffee. I'm on a longer fast than I intended to be. So staying busy is good. But I was excited to have you on. I really enjoyed our call that we had. You're doing awesome things. There's a lot of people out there that would be better off getting to know you. So to start off with, where are you calling in from? Where are you located?
So I am based in northern Los Angeles. So like right on the border of Ventura County and LA County. Somewhat close to the fires, but not really. So, every year we sort of have to evacuate. That's kind of an interesting little tidbit and fun fact, but it's a great area to raise kids. I have two. I have a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Okay. So it sounds like you've been there for a while, or are you a lifelong Californian, or?
No, I originally grew up in New York, went to school at NYU, and then immediately moved out to LA to pursue my dreams as a director and wound up in advertising. So that's ultimately what happened, but I wouldn't change a thing about my entire journey and experience because it's brought me to where I am today. And that is an incredibly exciting moment or I don't know what the word is, but
Gotcha.
the place where I am right now.
Well, that's awesome. I'm happy to hear it. So you've been there long enough that you have your haunts. If you have friends coming into the town that have never visited before, where are you
Yes.
going? What are you doing? And what's for dinner?
Yeah. Today.
And just in general.
So, my youngest, my 10-year-old, is graduating fifth grade, and so we have that culmination ceremony tomorrow, and then a party at some point after that. Both my kids have birthdays in August. Also going to VidCon next week. So I'll be there with a bunch of creators and brands and really kind of exploring what else is happening within that particular space in the influence marketing space. And then after that, just kind of, looking at additional conferences and different things to attend later on in the year. And then hopefully we'll make it to a couple of different cities where some of my clients are. So that'll be great too.
I gotcha. Well, what I was really asking is if you have people coming in that you're showing around your neck of the woods, like what are some of the things that you like to do that are fun in your area, or like places that you like to go for dinner?
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. When somebody comes to visit me, I typically take them to some of the more eclectic spots. Where I live, there's a ton of breweries. So we tend to go beer tasting. I tend to take them to some of my more favorite restaurants that are a little bit more off the beaten path. There's a restaurant called Green Onion, which is like it's a very hole in the wall type of a place, but it is so good. Like the Chinese food is incredible. And being from New York, I'm very picky about the Chinese food and pizza and all that stuff. So I have to really search these things out, and I found one that I really love. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. What can you tell us about what you do?
Yeah. So I'll step back a little bit just to give you some brief history on my career, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm currently doing, if that works for you. Is that cool?
Sure. My next question after that was going to be how'd you get started? So if you want to put those both together, that works too.
Perfect. Excellent. Awesome. I love telling stories. And so this is a story that I love to share. My journey is very different than others. Like I mentioned before, I started in entertainment. My very first job was on a TV show called Jack and Jill, where I was a PA, and then worked my way into post production there. That's where I met my wife of now 21 years married and 26 years together. She was working on Gilmore Girls, and I was working on another show, Jack and Jill, and then we just sort of came together at that point. And then after that, I did some background work in terms of coordinating background, so mostly behind the scenes. And then after that, I worked for Christina Ricci for a while before I started my own production company, set up 4 movies. And then my financiers decided they didn't want to make movies anymore. And so they pulled my funding. And I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Need a job. So I interviewed at a company called Overture, which was the incubator for paid search. And I remember my very first boss saying to me, hey, look, we know that we gave you and assigned you goals, but like, we don't want you just to hit those goals. We want you to blow through them. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And so I blew through those goals and they were like, holy moly, like this person didn't go to school for marketing, didn't go to school for advertising, didn't go to school for, business really, but just advertising came very naturally to me because it's very similar to directing in the fact that you are telling a story. There's a beginning, middle, and end, and you want your audience to feel something and walk away with a particular emotion. And the only difference between entertainment and advertising is that advertising, you want them to do something afterwards. So it's about driving action through storytelling. And I had to do that in 120 characters or less in search marketing, which is somewhat of a challenging task, if you will. But about a year and a half into my tenure at Yahoo, I started running teams. And they shipped me to New York for about 3 years to help turn the search team around there. Some of the folks that have been on my team are the person that runs all of advertising at Microsoft, the person who runs all of e-commerce at Pepsi, person who ran all of marketing at 1-800-Flowers and E-Trade, and a person who runs all of sales at Yelp. So the list sort of goes on and on and on. I certainly won't take credit for their career success. They are amazing, incredible people. But I will take some credit for their foundation in terms of the fact that I had them very early on and really spent time with them working on being proactive, being customer service driven. I've always won more than my fair share by just being there. And I know that that sounds very unusual, but it really is half the battle, is like being present, understanding what your client's goals and objectives are, and then going after and helping them achieve those objectives. And seeing somebody be successful is something that really drives me, which is why management and running teams was really lent itself well to my personality. So after Yahoo, had my daughter in New York, we moved back to LA. My wife did not want to do the third floor walk up, and I was like, all right, I guess we're moving back. So we moved back to Los Angeles, and I had came and saw and done what I wanted to do at Yahoo. So I was recruited to a company called Eventful, which was the largest entertainment discovery platform in the world. When I joined, they were doing about $95,000 a quarter. And when I left, they were doing about $6.5 million. We sold it to CBS Local. And then I was recruited to a personalized video platform where we were rendering hundreds of thousands of videos per advertising campaign and crushing search, crushing display, like really driving performance with video, which is something that is really hard to do because it's such a high CPM. However, the frequency only needs to be one or two, right? Versus display where you have to actually hit somebody 27 times in order for them to do something. So sight, sound, and motion lent itself very well. Also, it blended very well with my background. And then after that, I was recruited to influencer marketing. I've been doing that for the last 7 years, really more company building than anything else. The last company I was at, we took from about 6 people to 40 people in a year and 130% revenue growth year over year. So I've been a revenue leader, a marketing leader, and then I decided corporate was no longer for me. I really wanted to spend time helping people. And so I started Foxy Digital with that singular goal in mind. It's like, how do I help as many good people as I possibly can be successful? And essentially what I did was I went out into the market, noticed that there was a gap between what folks had been doing and what they currently could be doing. And sorry, 1 second, my phone is going off the hook here. And so I vetted over 100 different marketing solutions and walked away with about 7 that are truly changing the game. So the business that I run now is focused on one side of the business, it's focused on marketing solutions. And on the other side of the business, it's focused on more agency work, more media buying. So like buying search, buying display, buying programmatic, and we have different ways and new technologies to do these things. So we do them more efficiently and can typically cut costs by more than 50%. So it's for anybody that's running media, certainly happy to have a conversation with those people because we can probably trim their costs in a significant way just because of the types of models that we run and how we're able to train algorithms and those types of things. We just bring all the experience that we have to bear to the market. So that's really what I'm currently doing. It's been successful so far, I guess.
Gotcha. Well, what is it that you love most about what you're doing now?
I like seeing the smile on my client's face when I've just sent them 369 leads and 106 phone calls in 3 weeks. Like I like seeing um, them go, how do we scale this? How do we grow this? How do we take this from $5 million to $10 million? How do we take it from $1 million to $5 million? Like, or from $500,000 to $1 million, right? So there's lots of different ways to approach it, but at the end of the day, we're really looking at what is the scale plan, what's the growth plan, and how do we achieve those objectives? And there's so many different ways that we can do it, but we've really kind of landed on a couple of different strategies that work. However, that's what makes me happy, is seeing people be successful. I know that it's a little bit redundant in terms of what I've already talked about, but it is 100% true. I know it sounds very altruistic, but it really does drive me. I really like seeing people be happy. So
Okay. When you're looking at like your average client, the avatar of that, what are some of the pain points that somebody might be going through that if they're dealing with X, Y, or Z, you're the person they should be talking to?
yeah, so I mean, if they're not getting the leads that they think that they should be getting, if they're not getting the sales that they think they should be getting, if they're not getting any of the desired outcomes that they're looking to achieve with their marketing efforts, then they should definitely get in contact with me because we go through a very detailed intake where we really get to know that business like it's our business. I will not spend any money unless I know that something is going to work, that there's a timeline involved, and that it's 100% accountable. And that's why somebody should 100% getting in touch with me, is because I take accountability very seriously. And I spend people's money like it's my own. So I'm very careful about where we put placements, where we put advertising, and I make sure that it's 100% aligned with their goals and objectives. We go through strategy sessions. We go with what they've been doing. And then we look at all of the new and emerging technologies and see if any of those could help them. And then ultimately we land on a strategy and we implement that strategy. And then we do weekly meetings and we schedule QBRs and we look for areas of opportunity to scale and grow. And if they're not scaling and growing, then they shouldn't do it. So there's so many companies out there that'll just take your money. And I am tired of that particular experience. There's a lot of folks that have been burned and I get that. And so I'm here to reverse that thought process. People think about advertising and they're like, they just want my money. That's advertising should be an investment, not a call center. So if you are just paying money to get listed somewhere, but you don't have an objective and you don't have an ROI goal, then there's something wrong in the mix. So we help you figure that piece out. We hold your hand through the process. We are there 100% of the time. And because I truly believe in customer service, that is the value that you get, is you get me or you get somebody on my team who's been at Google and Snapchat and Walmart and Sam's Club and Yahoo and a bunch of other places that, we bring all of that experience to bear. And we've been at these platforms, so we know how these algorithms work, and we're able to drive success in ways that others just can't because they don't have that kind of experience.
Okay. What about on the networking side? What does your average power partner look like, or other professionals or individuals out there that you can synergize and collaborate or refer back and forth well with?
Yeah, I mean, so I synergize really well with business coaches because they typically have a very strong clientele these folks are really looking to expand and grow. I typically look for individuals that have connections and relationships with businesses that are, within the 5 to 10 million ARR range. And so, looking for those kinds of people. Lawyers are great clients for me. I just tend to do really well in the legal field. Helping folks grow their Instagram accounts is something that I do. Helping folks, get more exposure on YouTube. Half their advertising uh, and their content is on television. Most people don't know that. It's like you can get TV advertising in a way that is very cost effective and actually can drive conversions. So we do that. HR partners are also really good. We've got a couple of different hiring solutions that have been really smart in terms of understanding your workforce a little bit better, but also being able to hire more effectively. So lots of different tools, lots of different things, but ultimately my power partner are those business coaches or other businesses that have seen success, and referrals are the lifeblood of this particular business.
What advice would you give to a new or aspiring entrepreneur?
Buckle down. It takes time. And I think that people sometimes expect overnight success. I certainly did. I was like, oh, I'm going to leave corporate and start this gig, and everything's going to be, just kind of move along swimmingly. And that's just not the case, right? Like, it takes time for people to make decisions. It takes time to operationalize a business. It takes time to understand all the various different components that go into it. And then it takes time to weed out the folks that really are creating more noise than are being helpful. So it's learning how to operate within that space that I think is really important for folks to understand and to internalize. Because once they're able to do that, then things just roll off your shoulder and you're able to kind of move on to the next and understand challenges and be as supportive as possible. Because our jobs as entrepreneurs is, yes, it is to make money, but it's also, there's more of I think entrepreneurs have more of a moral value, more of a heart, if you will, than necessarily corporate America does.
Okay. What's one common marketing mistake businesses make?
Not knowing their goals. I would say like half of the people that I talk to, they're like, I just want more business. Okay, but what does that mean? Right? Like, do you want to drive more awareness so people know who you are? And so you become almost like a household name? Do you want to drive additional sales? And if so, do you have any particular offers that you're willing to offer people in order to get them and attract them and retain them as customers and bring them in as customers too? Do you have an out, like, are you looking for more leads? And if it's personal, right? Like, what tools are you using and how successful have they been? A lot of folks do not look at their numbers. They don't look at what they've done and how successful it's been. And like, I was just working with a personal injury lawyer, and they had no idea how many leads they were getting. They had no idea if these were good leads or not good leads. And what we found was that their intake person was not doing a great job. So the leads that we were sending them weren't necessarily converting. We're like, okay, can we talk to your, and then we decided, you know what, we'll do the intake. Like, we will talk to them, we will qualify them, and then we will send them your way. And so, like, there's always a solution and a way to work things effectively. That's why you go with somebody that's a little bit smaller, more nimble, can really work the situation as it exists currently, but also plan for the future and understand what's been happening in addition to understanding the entire landscape. So there's a lot that goes into this that people don't really kind of understand. They're like, oh, it's advertising, I just pay you money and I get something. No, it's very detail focused, and the devil is in the details. So knowing your numbers, knowing what your goals and objectives are, and having an open mind. I think those are the three things that I would take away from this. Is, if you could, is being open enough to understand that there are new and different ways of doing things. There's AI that's out there, but don't use AI to replace anything necessarily yet. use it to help you, right? Use it as a tool, use it as a thing that you can lean on to be more creative, more productive, more systematic, and improve your processes. But don't I wouldn't replace anything or anybody quite yet. I don't think we're there yet on the AI side, but lots of new and emerging technologies, and the landscape is shifting more now on a daily basis than it has ever shifted before. So somebody who is up to speed and understands that landscape is somebody that I would certainly have on my side.
How can brands stand out in a crowded digital space?
That is an amazing question, Anthony, and something that I focus on a daily basis is how do I rise above the noise, right? And the answer is incredibly simple. It's great storytelling, and it's being in the right place at the right time in front of the right person. And I think that if you can get your storytelling nailed, right? If people know what you do and who you are in the first 5 seconds of whatever kind of promotion that you're looking to do, that's a huge win. And then the second huge win is promote in the right places. Don't promote in places where you're just going to get impressions and you're not going to get any kind of desired result. So it's important to develop a strategy, and it's important to develop, a short, medium, and long-term approach to your overall business. And that does include your advertising, it does include your marketing efforts. It does include, all of the various components that go into operating a successful business. And marketing needs to be and has to have a seat at that table in order to build and grow a successful organization.
What's the best advice for building strong strategic partnerships?
Another great question. The world that we live in is all about relationships, right? So if there is a solution that is working for you, get to know that person. Go out and break bread with that person. I think that we live in a post-COVID world where Zoom is the norm and going out and meeting people is a thing of the past. I think that is not a great situation to be in. It's convenient, right? Like a lot of people don't have to leave their houses anymore. And it's, super effective when it comes to obviously your family and raising kids and all of the things that come with that. But there really is no substitute for being in the same room with your client and or your partner, because you learn different things. You can, the unspoken language of being across the table and being able to look at somebody and understand how they're thinking and how they're feeling versus trying to guess that on a call it's a defining moment. So I would encourage people to get out there, to meet their partners, to break bread with their partners, to really develop those relationships and leverage your experts and have them come with you, right? Like we don't do things by ourselves anymore. We shouldn't, right? This is much more of a collaborative experience and a collaborative world that we're in right now. So let's leverage that and leverage our experts, bring them along and build those relationships, because that's what makes this thing work and work really well, because the people you build relationships with will go the extra mile for you. And I think that is an incredibly important component to building a successful partnership.
So you have loads of experience, loads of testimonials, loads of stories, but why you? What sets you apart from everybody else out there doing something similar?
I'm freaking awesome. Come on, Anthony. Who wouldn't want to
Necessarily.
work with this? Look, like the experience that I bring to the table, I'm insanely humble. I do not have an ego when it comes to anything remotely related to this. And I care very deeply about the clients that I work with. I treat their businesses like they're my own. And I've done the work. Not a lot of people have done the work, right? I've vetted over 100 different solutions, and I've found the ones that I'm willing to put my name behind. And so, like, there's there's a level of care and not only expertise, but it's combining those two things that I think really bring people a sense of comfort. So when they work with me, they're like, we're not just getting the result, but we're also getting Andrew and his team. And I think that that is the component that a lot of folks go, okay, I can just get a tool, or I can just get a thing, or I can just use AI, or I can just do it on my own. It's like, no, like get a partner, right? Build a relationship. And because I've been doing this for so long, it's just, it sort of rolls off the tongue for me, but I care very, very, very deeply. And I think that that is sometimes missing in business. You know, we care about our families, we care about our friends, we care about those people that are closest to us. But do we care about our business partners? And I think we need to. So, I mean, I tend to stand out because I do really great work. I tend to stand out because I care. And I tend to stand out because I bring that expertise to the table.
Awesome. So I know there's all the rabbit holes that we can go down and get lost in for hours, but in general, is there anything that I missed or I failed to ask that you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I feel like, first of all, this has been an incredible time chatting with you. So thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate that. And I'm excited to connect with your audience and share some more tidbits and things that will help them improve their own organizations and their own companies and themselves as people. You know, I think in terms of anything that you missed, I don't think that there's really very much. I mean, we could obviously get into marketing tactics. I can get into all of the tools that I have, but I feel like as people really understand who I am as a person, we can have those discussions individually, you know, in one-on-one sessions and see if there's a fit.
For those that want to have those sessions, that want to go down those rabbit holes with you, what's the best way they reach you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so obviously you can go to my website, which is Foxy Digital, Foxy digital.ai, or they can reach me via contact at foxydigital.ai. So those are really the two ways to reach me. Feel free to shoot me an email. I tend to move to text pretty quickly. So if you're comfortable texting, we'll probably do that. And then let's figure out we can create as much success for you as we possibly can. So,
And I'm going to put all that in the show notes so it's super easy to find.
yeah.
Absolutely
Okay.
reach out, have a conversation. You're going to walk away better off than before.
Thank you.
Andrew's the exact same in a one-to-one as he is here, so don't be shy, don't be nervous. He's awesome at what he does, and you'd be better off for having that. So, other than that, if anybody would like to get a hold of me, you can find me at ikag.me. You can find more episodes, subscribe to our newsletter, and connect with our growing community of awesome people like Andrew. If you or somebody you know would like to be interviewed, you can also apply on our website. But thank you so much for coming on. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
having
this.
me.
Yeah,
This is
it's my
really
pleasure.
great, Anthony, and super excited to connect with your audience and then also to, keep our relationship going. So it's exciting.
Absolutely, it's absolutely my pleasure. You're awesome. You're helping a lot of people. Let's all go have an awesome day and grow our circles. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.